The sky above the alien city of Kalora shimmered like liquid crystal. Towering spires of iridescent metal reflected the sun's rays, painting the streets below in a rainbow of light. Captain Ryan Hayes, a human who had spent months on this distant planet, walked cautiously through the bustling marketplace. Even now, he was still amazed at how advanced the aliens had become, yet how much their society relied on ancient customs and traditions. Ryan had come a long way from the human world he once knew. Only a few months ago, he had been a soldier stranded on an alien battlefield, unsure whether he would survive. But after a daring rescue of the alien queen, Erilyn, he had gained their trust and even more their curiosity. Humans were rare here, and few could earn the respect of the royal family. Ryan had done both. He was so lost in thought that he barely noticed the sudden hush in the marketplace. The aliens, tall and elegant with shimmering skin and flowing robes, seemed to part instinctively as a procession moved through. At the front of it, flanked by guards with energy spears, was none other than Queen Erilyn herself. Her presence was commanding, yet Ryan noticed something different, something that made his stomach twist. There was worry in her eyes. Ryan straightened and stepped forward, unsure why the queen was approaching him personally. When she stopped in front of him, the crowd quickly backed away. Erilyn's expression softened as she regarded him. "Captain Hayes," she said, her voice firm but with a hint of urgency. "I need you to come with me. Now." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. Being summoned to the Queen's private chambers was unusual at any time, but the urgency in her tone suggested this was no ordinary request. He followed her through winding hallways, past floating lanterns that pulsed with soft light, until they reached a massive chamber at the center of the palace. Inside, the room was even more magnificent than the halls. Walls of crystal emitted a gentle glow, and holographic images of the planet's history rotated slowly above the floor. At the far end of the chamber, a small figure sat in a reinforced chair, Princess Leora, the Queen's daughter. Ryan froze. The young princess looked fragile, almost unreal, with delicate features and eyes that seemed too large for her small face. Her skin had a faint shimmer like the rest of her species, but she moved slowly and carefully as if every motion took great effort. He had only ever heard stories about her before, how she had rarely appeared in public because of a mysterious illness that had baffled even the most advanced alien doctors. The Queen's voice cut through his thoughts. "Ryan," she said, her eyes meeting his, "my daughter needs you." The word struck him like a thunderbolt. Needs him? He had faced alien warriors, navigated deadly terrain, and even survived attacks meant to kill him, but this was entirely different. "Me?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "What could I possibly do for her?" Erilyn's gaze didn't waver. "Your physiology, your human perspective, it may be the only thing that can help her. Our methods have failed, and time is short." Ryan swallowed hard. He had no idea what he was getting himself into. He had medical training, but it was basic compared to the alien sciences. Still, he knew one thing. He couldn't refuse the Queen, not when a child's life was at stake. "I'll do my best," he said finally, stepping closer to the princess. Princess Leora lifted her head slightly, studying him with cautious eyes. There was a spark of curiosity there, despite her weakness. Ryan felt an immediate sense of responsibility, not just to the Queen, but to this young girl who seemed so small in a world so vast. Over the next several hours, Ryan observed her condition carefully. Her movements were slow and measured, her breathing shallow. Standard alien treatments, energy fields, bioinjections, and complex serums had no effect. Ryan took careful notes, cross-referencing his knowledge of human biology with what he could understand of alien physiology. As he worked, he noticed something remarkable. Princess Leora's reactions, small though they were, indicated intelligence and awareness beyond what her condition suggested. When he spoke gently, she would blink and follow his gestures. When he showed her a simple mechanical puzzle from his bag, her fingers, though weak, moved deliberately as she attempted to solve it. It was then that Ryan realized something important. This wasn't just about curing a physical illness. It was about reaching her mind, her spirit, in ways that conventional alien methods had overlooked. The Queen watched from a distance, her expression unreadable. At one moment, Ryan thought he saw hope in her eyes. At another, there was fear. He didn't know what exactly she was thinking, but he understood one thing clearly. Failure was not an option. As days passed, Ryan devised a series of experiments and exercises that combined human logic, simple mechanical tools, and carefully monitored alien devices. Each small success brought a flicker of light to Leora's eyes, a tiny laugh or a smile. For the first time in weeks, she seemed almost like a normal child, yet not everything was smooth. Political tension simmered in the background. Some council members whispered about the human meddling with royal affairs. Others feared that Ryan's involvement could disrupt traditions or expose the young princess to risk. Ryan knew that any misstep could turn allies into enemies in an instant. One evening, as the twin suns of Kelora set, painting the palace in deep shades of orange and purple, Ryan sat beside Leora. She was holding a small crystal puzzle he had given her, her fingers struggling but determined. "You really like this, don't you?" he said softly, not wanting to startle her. She looked up, her eyes bright with curiosity. For a moment there was no weakness, no illness, just a spark of childlike determination. She nodded slowly. "I like to try," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Ryan smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest he hadn't expected. This was more than duty now. He was invested in her life and her happiness, and he realized, perhaps for the first time since arriving on this alien world, that he truly belonged here, not just as a guest or a soldier, but as someone who could make a difference. Late that night, as Ryan left the princess's chambers, he paused in the corridor. The queen was waiting for him, her expression serious. "You've done more than I expected," she said quietly. "But this is only the beginning. My daughter's condition, it is more complicated than even I had realized. There are forces at work here that you cannot yet understand." Ryan met her gaze steadily. "Then I'll learn. I'll do whatever it takes to help her." Erilyn nodded, a flicker of gratitude passing over her features. "Good. You are the only human I trust with this task. Remember, Captain Hayes, her life, her future, may depend on you." As Ryan walked back to his quarters that night, the weight of her words pressed heavily on him. He had faced countless dangers in his life, yet nothing had ever felt as important, or as personal, as what awaited him with Princess Leora. And somewhere deep in the palace, the young princess slept, unaware of the quiet determination growing in the human who had come to her aid. Ryan knew that the days ahead would be challenging, filled with uncertainty and risk. But one thing was clear: he would not give up. Not for the queen, not for the princess, not for the future of a world that had already changed his life forever. The story of trust, courage, and unexpected bonds was only beginning. And Captain Ryan Hayes had no idea just how far his choices would reach, nor the lives he would touch along the way. The next morning, Kelora's twin suns rose together, bathing the crystal spires in warm light. Captain Ryan Hayes returned to Princess Leora's chamber, determination set firmly in his expression. Over the past days, he had learned small but important things about her condition. It was unlike any human illness he had encountered, yet certain principles, balance, stimulation, and care, seemed to help. The princess sat by the window, staring out at the city below. When she saw Ryan, her face brightened slightly. "Good morning," she whispered. "Good morning, Leora," Ryan replied gently. "How did you sleep?" "Better," she said, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "I had a dream about the gardens outside," Ryan nodded. Even small improvements felt like victories. He had spent hours observing her reactions to different stimuli: light, sound, movement, and even conversation. Every gesture, every flicker of recognition, provided valuable insight. He knew that progress would be slow but steady, and that patience was as important as knowledge. He began today's session by introducing a new set of exercises. Using a combination of human logic puzzles and simple alien devices, he aimed to stimulate both her mind and body. Leora's small fingers trembled as she attempted to manipulate the intricate shapes, but she persisted, refusing to give up. Ryan watched, heart swelling with pride. "Look at you," he said softly. "You're trying so hard." She looked up, eyes wide. "I want to get better," she said simply. "I want to walk outside, to play, to everything." Ryan felt a pang of sympathy. The desire to experience life, so simple for most children, was a daily challenge for her. "And you will," he promised. "We just have to take it one step at a time." As the days passed, Ryan's methods began to yield more noticeable results. Leora could move her arms more freely. Her breathing became steadier and her attention span improved. The princess even began to speak more clearly, asking questions about the human world, about the stars, and about Ryan's own life. He found himself telling stories from Earth, careful to keep them simple and entertaining, and Leora listened intently, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. Yet despite the progress, not everyone in the palace was pleased. Rumors began to spread among the council members. A human influencing the princess? It is dangerous, some whispered. Others questioned whether Ryan's unconventional methods were truly safe. These murmurs reached the queen, but she remained steadfast, confident in her choice. One afternoon, while Ryan was preparing a new exercise for Leora, alarms suddenly blared through the palace. Security holograms flashed red, showing figures moving rapidly toward the princess's quarters. Ryan's heart sank. The palace was under threat, not from an external enemy, but from those who opposed his involvement. A faction within the council had decided to intervene, believing that Leora should be moved and treated exclusively by alien doctors. Ryan knew that he had only seconds to act. He scooped Leora into his arms, careful not to jostle her, and sprinted toward a hidden exit he had discovered while exploring the palace. The corridors blurred past him, shimmering with the strange light of the alien city. Guards from the Loyalist faction quickly blocked the attackers, giving Ryan and Leora a clear path. Finally, they reached a secure observation chamber overlooking the city. Ryan set Leora down gently, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You're safe now," he reassured her. Leora looked up at him, eyes wide but calm. "You saved me," she whispered. Ryan smiled, though his heart was still racing. "We saved each other," he said. From that vantage point, Ryan had a moment to think. He realized that Leora's life was not just about her health. It was about the bonds they had formed, the trust she placed in him, and the hope she represented for the future. The human touch, the patience, and the perspective he offered were just as important as any treatment. In the following days, Ryan continued his work, even more determined than before. He created exercises that encouraged movement while keeping Leora safe, and mental challenges that engaged her mind. Slowly but surely, the princess began to respond. She could now sit upright unaided, reach for objects with steady hands, and even attempt short walks with Ryan's support. The queen observed silently from her chambers, her pride tempered with caution. She had always been protective of Leora, and seeing the human succeed where her most trusted advisors had failed filled her with both relief and amazement. One evening, Ryan sat beside Leora as she completed a particularly tricky puzzle. She laughed, a sound so rare and joyful that it echoed in his chest. "I did it!" she exclaimed. "You did it," Ryan confirmed, smiling. "I knew you could." For a moment, the weight of their journey seemed to lift. The palace, the politics, the fear. It all faded as Ryan watched the young princess beam with pride. He understood then that his role was more than that of a healer or teacher. He was a guide, helping her discover her own strength. But even as they celebrated small victories, a new challenge arose. The council had begun to formally debate Ryan's presence, questioning whether a human should have such influence over the royal family. The queen knew that she needed to act decisively to protect both her daughter and Ryan. In a public assembly of the council, Aarylin declared her decision. "Captain Ryan Hayes has proven his dedication, skill, and loyalty. He has not only aided my daughter's recovery, but has also earned my full trust. From this moment forward, he is recognized as an ally of the royal family." The chamber fell silent. Some council members' faces hardened in anger, but most could not deny the results they had witnessed firsthand. Leora's condition had improved dramatically, and it was clear that Ryan's methods had been instrumental. Later that evening, Ryan returned to Leora's chambers, feeling the weight of the day's events. She was seated by the window, gazing at the stars. "You did it, Ryan," she said softly. "You helped me." Ryan shook his head. "No, you did it, Leora. I just helped you see what you were capable of." The young princess smiled faintly, a glimmer of hope shining in her eyes. "Then will you stay? With me?" Ryan felt a warmth in his chest. "I'll stay as long as you need me," he said, "and I'll help you grow stronger every day." For the first time in her life, Leora felt the possibility of freedom, of exploration, and of a future beyond her illness. And Ryan, once a stranger in a strange world, found a purpose deeper than any mission or battle, to guide and protect a life that mattered far beyond politics or power. Days turned into weeks, and Leora's progress continued. She began walking unassisted, reading books, and even helping Ryan with experiments. The bond between them grew stronger, founded on trust, respect, and the shared understanding that they were partners in this journey. Finally, the Queen approached Ryan one morning, her expression calm yet filled with gratitude. "You have done more than heal my daughter," she said. "You have given her hope, and in doing so you have changed our world. Your presence is now not just accepted but celebrated." Ryan nodded, humbled. "I only did what I could. Leora's courage made it possible." The Queen smiled. "And your courage made a difference where we could not. Remember, Ryan, humans have a strength we cannot fully understand. You have proven it here." As Ryan stood beside Leora and the Queen, looking out over the city of Kelora, he realized how far he had come. From a stranded soldier to a trusted ally, he had found a place where he belonged, not just as a visitor, but as someone who could change lives. And though challenges would come again, he knew one truth above all. Together, with trust, courage, and determination, even the most impossible obstacles could be overcome. The young princess laughed again, this time freely, as Ryan guided her through a simple exercise. The alien world around them sparkled with possibility, and the human who had once been an outsider now stood at the heart of a story that would be remembered for generations. Ryan smiled, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come to Kelora a stranger, but he would leave, or rather stay, as a hero, a mentor, and a friend. And Princess Leora, once weak and hidden, would step into a future filled with strength, hope, and the remarkable bond they had forged together.